Forearm pronation. Elbow flex the 90 degrees in forearm fully supinated. Assess the available passive range of motion. Stabilize the introlateral aspects of femur. Palpate the pronator carries from the proximal third of the anterior floor on applying increasing resistance to the palmar surface of the radius dorsal cervix in the direction of supination. Elbow extension. Shoulder flexed to 90 degrees, the elbow fully flexed and the forearm fully supinated. Assess the available passive range of motion. Stabilize the lateral shoulder and palpate the triceps muscle. Bring the arm back into slight elbow flexion. Internal or external hip rotation. We can apply from extended knee position. Place one hand approximately leaning joint and one hand approximate to the ankle joint. Now we need to roll inside into internal rotation and outside into same rotation, so the heel and external rotation on thigh heel out the internal position of the left joint. Hip abduction. This exercise improves the strength of your knee. We will lay on our side and raise the knee to ensure that your hips do not roll backward. Keep them stacked on top of one another perpendicular to the surface, then feel most of the burn in the hip. Foot dorsiflexion. During dorsiflexion, the back or upper side of the foot moves towards the shin, decreasing the angle between these two surfaces, leaving the toes pointing a little bit closer to the head. When we walk on heels only, we dorsiflexion the foot. Passive range of motion in wrist. Examine the wrist flexion and extension. The person is in the sitting position with the elbow propped up on the bench and the forearm in supination. Fixate the forearm in one hand and then maximally flex the wrist, and as is the end field for extension, the position is the same, and maximally extend the wrist. Lower extremity. First, use the leg, so we are going to do flexion extension, then abduction, which is away from abduction. So next will be a rotation of the leg in clockwise motion, then counterclockwise. Stretching at joints. We have to make the left leg up and then going to put our hands on our leg, and we're going to have the other down. We can put a little roll underneath and use our hip flexors on one side and hamstrings on the other side, and stretching up down relieve the joint pain. Ankle rotation. We have to look at the passive range of motion of the ankle into dorsiflexion. Pull the ankle into full dorsiflexion, grab onto the ankle and move it into plantar flexion for inversion. Fixate the tibia and then grab the ankle from the outside, let it move inwards. This is how in the ankle rotation we can see the passive range of motion. Rehabilitation. Just bending forward like you are going to touch your toes and coming up. Facilitate recovery, optimize movement, improve function, and manage pain. This includes the rehabilitation of a passive range of motion. Stretching skeletal muscles. Keep the knees extended and I'll be flexing the foot. Try to feel the stretch of the bottom of the leg and push the foot end and pull the calcaneal up. Then the patient goes to mobile with fingers, so hold the stretch for about 30 seconds. You can take the solid broom in one hand and do the motion, and the hands just go along for the ride. Another hand is lifting, it is getting lifted by the solid broom going up down. Eventually shoulder passive range of motion, higher up, then shoulder abduction, which is a passive range of motion. Knee passive range of motion. For flexion you have it in a supine position, then grab onto the leg above the ankle. You may also use your other hand to palpate the joint line and then bring the foot as far as possible to the knees. Neck rotation. Neck and trunk. Frequently the muscles on the front of the neck are tighter from the head leaning forward due to the weakness. Stretching the muscles on the front of the neck and hold the head and the hands up to 20 to 30 seconds, then the head is getting heavy. Spine passive range of motion. The rotation occurs from the upper or cervical spine. Handling is to be web-like cradling, so for the movement we're going to be drawing the patient's head from the neutral position with cervical pain flexion. Hip passive range of motion. To conduct passive range of motion in the direction of abduction, make sure to support the leg and to keep it straight to prevent any rotation in the hip while doing abduction. Also fixate the pelvis and move the leg outwards as far as possible and cross the leg over the other. Elbow bends. For extension, just grab the arm extended fully and access the end field. Then for bending, bend it fully and access the end field. To test flexion, passively take the patient elbow from a completely extended position to a completely flexed position. Passive range of motion of the upper extremity. Start with scapular movement. Cradle patient, yes, arm with our hand closest to their feet and top hand is going to suction cup onto their scapula and do scapular elevation and depression. Make it for 3 times. Now retraction, protraction. This is the process of how passive range of motion works on the upper extremity. Please visit our website lambdageeks.com for more articles on technology, engineering, mathematics, and various other domains. Scientific calculator and many more other tools.